Life is difficult, and the weight of existence can feel unbearable at times. But the worst thing you can do when facing adversity is to lower your head and stare at the ground, because when you do, your world shrinks. Your vision narrows to the very problems you feel trapped by, and you begin to believe that no escape exists. But here's the truth. You must look up. You must lift your gaze beyond your immediate suffering, beyond the chaos of today, and see the horizon of what is possible. Because when you look up, you reorient yourself towards something greater than your struggles. You see a path forward. And the moment you identify that path, you have a responsibility to move ahead. It won't be easy. Moving forward means stepping into uncertainty, stepping into the unknown. But stagnation is far worse. The longer you stand still, the heavier the weight of doubt and fear becomes. The only way to overcome fear is through action. Even imperfect, hesitant steps are better than none at all. Think about it. If you only focus on how hard life is, how unfair things are, how many obstacles are in your way, you will stay trapped in that reality. But if you choose to raise your perspective, if you look at what is possible rather than what is painful, you'll begin to see opportunities where before there were only barriers. Take responsibility for your movement. Understand that you have the ability, the agency, and the obligation to push forward despite difficulty. Not just for yourself, but for those who rely on you, for those who will one day look to you for guidance. Every step forward is an act of defiance against despair. Every effort to improve yourself is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. So when life is weighing down on you, when you feel lost, when giving up seems like the only option, look up. Find the path, move ahead, because your future depends on it. Your focus shapes your reality. This is one of the most crucial aspects of life that we often overlook. The world is filled with distractions, negativity, and challenges that can easily divert your attention. And what you focus on in life will invariably define the direction you take. If you focus solely on the problems in your life, it's easy to become overwhelmed, to feel as though you're stuck in a constant loop of frustration. When you focus on your limitations, they will only grow larger. But there's another way. What if you changed your focus? What if instead of looking down at the obstacles, you looked up toward the horizon of what's possible? When you shift your focus to solutions instead of problems, opportunities instead of barriers, everything begins to change. You begin to see the potential in every situation, no matter how challenging it seems. It's about perspective. Your thoughts and actions follow the direction of your focus. And when you consistently direct your attention to the things that inspire you, push you forward, and encourage your growth, you begin to transform your reality. The power of forward movement cannot be overstated. Progress doesn't happen all at once. It's not about giant leaps or instantaneous changes. Real growth happens in the smallest of steps and the consistency of taking action even when you're unsure of the outcome. Moving forward means you keep going despite the obstacles that lie in your path. It means that you commit to doing anything to propel yourself toward your goal, even if it feels insignificant in the moment. Because here's the truth. The smallest action today compounds over time, and over time, those small actions create enormous momentum. The people who succeed aren't always the ones who make the biggest moves, but they are the ones who consistently move forward, day after day. In the face of adversity, resilience through responsibility is key. Life does not hand us challenges on a silver platter. Challenges are a part of the journey, and they will come whether we're ready for them or not. The weight of responsibility is often viewed as something burdensome, something that holds us back. But it's in the acceptance of responsibility where true strength lies. When you take responsibility for your life, your choices, your actions, you take control. It's no longer about being a victim of circumstances. It's about realizing that you have the power to choose your response to those circumstances. When you act out of responsibility, you transform your struggle into an opportunity for growth. You stop waiting for things to change and start making the changes yourself. It's not about avoiding hardships. It's about embracing them as stepping stones to something greater. Fear is one of the most paralyzing emotions we can experience, and it often stands in the way of progress. Fear tells you to stop, to play it safe, to avoid risk. But the real danger lies in listening to that voice of fear and letting it dictate your decisions. You have a choice. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. The antidote to fear is action. When you're afraid, that's exactly the moment when you need to push forward, even if it's just a small step. Action despite fear teaches you that the world isn't as dangerous as it seems. It teaches you that you are capable, and every step you take toward your goal diminishes the power of that fear. With every courageous action, no matter how small, you create a new reality for yourself, one in which fear no longer has the power to paralyze you. Perspective is everything. When you're stuck in a narrow view of life, it's easy to fall into the trap of negativity. The world appears limited, and your challenges seem insurmountable. But when you broaden your perspective, you realize that the world is vast, full of possibilities. Expanding your view allows you to see that your current struggles are only a small part of a much bigger picture. The opportunities available to you might not be immediately obvious, but once you start looking for them, you begin to see doors that were once hidden. You see that your difficulties are temporary, that they are part of your growth, and that every setback is a chance to rise higher. Looking beyond the present moment allows you to keep moving forward, knowing that the bigger picture holds something better than what's currently in front of you. Self-improvement is not a one-time event. It's a daily choice. The idea of fixing yourself can be overwhelming, but the truth is that self-improvement is about making small, consistent changes each day. It's not about radically transforming yourself overnight, but about committing to growth every single day. Whether it's learning something new, taking care of your mental and physical health, or confronting your fears, each of these actions adds up. Over time, they will shape you into someone who is stronger, more capable, and more resilient. The person you are today doesn't have to be the person you are tomorrow. Every day presents an opportunity to move closer to the version of yourself that you want to be. And that transformation is driven by the small choices you make consistently over time. These 6 key elements: focus, movement, responsibility, action, perspective, and self-improvement are the building blocks of progress. They are the foundation upon which you can construct a life of meaning, purpose, and success. So as you face the challenges ahead, remember that no matter how heavy the weight of your struggles may feel, you have the power to change your direction. You have the power to look up, see a brighter future, and move ahead with strength and purpose. The power of forward movement is not simply about making grand gestures or taking bold steps. It's about the consistency of progress, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. People often overestimate the importance of dramatic leaps and underestimate the value of steady, incremental progress. You don't need to change the world in one day. You need to change yourself one step at a time. This is the secret to lasting success. Real growth is not about sudden transformations, but rather the accumulation of small daily actions that build momentum over time. Each time you move forward, no matter the pace, you create a snowball effect. One action leads to another, and before you know it, you've achieved far more than you ever thought possible. It's easy to become disheartened when the results of your efforts don't manifest immediately. The world today is filled with messages that promise instant success, but the truth is that every worthwhile achievement requires time and patience. It's the steady, almost invisible movement that produces the most profound change. This is why forward movement is critical. Even when you're uncertain about the outcome, even when things feel stagnant or slow, continuing to take action is what separates the dreamers from the doers. The act of moving forward, regardless of your circumstances, is what will eventually propel you toward your goals. This is not about perfection, it's about persistence. The people who succeed are the ones who never stop moving. Even if they stumble, they get back up and keep moving ahead. When you make forward movement a habit, it becomes a part of who you are. It's no longer an occasional action, but a defining characteristic of your daily life. You build resilience through each step because you realize that the obstacles you face are not permanent barriers, but temporary challenges to be overcome. The more you keep moving, the more confident you become in your ability to handle adversity, and this, in turn, becomes a cycle of improvement. Each action builds upon the last, and soon you will look back and realize how far you've come, not because you took one huge leap, but because you consistently move forward every day. Forward movement also teaches you one of life's most important lessons: the value of embracing uncertainty. There is no such thing as a perfect path. The road ahead is rarely straight or clear, And the fear of the unknown often paralyzes people into inaction. But the beauty of life lies in its unpredictability. When you move forward, you embrace the journey with all its unknowns. Instead of waiting for the right moment or the perfect opportunity, you take what you have and keep moving. The road may be unclear, but by moving ahead, you carve your own path. It's through action that you uncover possibilities, make discoveries, and find new avenues you never expected. So don't wait for everything to be perfectly aligned before you begin. Start where you are with what you have and keep going. You'll find that the more you move, the clearer the path becomes. Responsibility is often seen as a burden, a weight that drags us down. We think of it as something we must bear reluctantly, as though it's an obligation rather than a choice. But real responsibility is empowering. It's about recognizing that you have control over your own life and that the choices you make shape your future. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong or carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It means acknowledging that, while you can't control everything, you always have the power to decide how you respond to life's challenges. Responsibility is the ability to take ownership of your actions, your decisions, and ultimately your future. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop waiting for things to change on their own. You stop being a passive observer of your circumstances and start becoming an active participant in shaping your destiny. It's easy to get caught up in the mindset that everything is happening to you, that life is unfair, or that you're powerless in the face of adversity. But when you embrace responsibility, you shift the narrative. You begin to see yourself as someone who is capable of making things happen, someone who can turn obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into learning experiences. It's a mindset shift that propels you forward, not just in the big moments, but in every decision you make. You take responsibility for your growth, your happiness, and your success. And with that, you gain a sense of empowerment that fuels your progress. Taking responsibility also means taking responsibility for the way you see the world. If you allow negative thoughts, doubts, and fears to dominate your mindset, they will dictate your actions. But when you take responsibility for your thoughts, you begin to choose positivity and hope. It's a conscious decision to take control of your mental state and refuse to be at the mercy of your circumstances. By owning your response to life's challenges, you gain the ability to transform any situation into one that serves your growth. Responsibility is not about blaming or shaming yourself for where you are. It's about acknowledging that you have the power to change, to grow, and to take control of your future. When you begin to take responsibility for your actions and your mindset, you begin to see a transformation. You realize that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a creator of your own reality. And this realization is liberating. It's the first step toward breaking free from the chains of self-doubt and fear, and it's the foundation of personal growth. Taking responsibility puts you in the driver's seat of your life. You're no longer waiting for life to happen to you. Instead, you're actively shaping your path and making decisions that lead you toward your goals. Both forward movement and responsibility are interconnected. You cannot have one without the other. Moving forward requires responsibility, and responsibility demands action. They create a cycle of growth that propels you toward your potential. So the next time you feel stuck, uncertain, or overwhelmed, remember that the key to overcoming any obstacle is to take responsibility for your actions and keep moving forward. Each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are meant to be. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in our lives, yet it is often misunderstood. People tend to think of fear as something to be avoided, something that paralyzes and restricts us. In reality, fear is a natural part of the human experience, and it is not something we can simply eliminate. The challenge is not to rid ourselves of fear, but to learn how to use it as a catalyst for growth rather than an obstacle to it. Fear exists to protect us, but it can also hold us back when it is allowed to control our decisions and behaviors. It's important to recognize that fear itself is not the problem. It's how we respond to it that determines whether we succeed or falter. The key to overcoming fear is not to avoid it, but to act in spite of it. Every time you step into the unknown, fear will show up. It will whisper doubts into your mind and try to convince you that it's too risky, too dangerous, or too uncertain. But the truth is, Those moments of fear are often the very moments when you're on the brink of growth. Fear is a signal that you are moving beyond your comfort zone, beyond the familiar, and into new territory where learning and transformation happen. When you act in spite of fear, you demonstrate to yourself that you are capable of handling challenges, that you can face discomfort and still push forward. The process of overcoming fear is not linear. It's not about suddenly eliminating all the fear in your life. Instead, it's about learning to take incremental steps, each one a little bit bolder than the last, until the fear begins to lose its grip on you. Every action you take, no matter how small, reinforces the idea that you are in control. When you act in the face of fear, you create evidence for yourself that you are stronger than the doubts that fear presents. And with each subsequent action, the fear becomes less significant, less overwhelming. Over time, you begin to reframe your relationship with fear. Not as something to avoid, but as something to embrace. Something that signals you're on the right path. Fear is an inherent part of personal growth. Every time you step into uncharted territory, you're faced with uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds fear. But the most successful people are not the ones who have no fear. They are the ones who take action regardless of it. They know that fear is not the enemy, but a companion on the journey to self-improvement. The greatest achievements in life often come after periods of uncertainty, discomfort, and fear. By facing your fear, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling anything life throws your way. Fear will never completely disappear, but through consistent action, it will lose its power to control your life. Your perspective has a profound impact on how you experience life and its challenges. When faced with difficulty, many people naturally narrow their focus to the problems at hand. They see the obstacles, the setbacks, the things that are wrong with their situation, and this becomes their reality. But this narrow view is limiting. It confines you to a cycle of negativity, preventing you from seeing the bigger picture. The key to overcoming this mindset is to broaden your perspective, to recognize that your current challenges are only a small part of the larger story of your life. When you open up your perspective, you begin to see the potential within each situation. Instead of focusing solely on the immediate problem, you start to look for solutions, opportunities, and lessons hidden within the difficulty. This shift in perspective allows you to maintain a sense of hope and optimism, even in the face of adversity. Rather than getting stuck in the weeds of daily struggles, you begin to see the broader landscape, the possibility of growth, the potential for learning, and the inevitability of progress. By expanding your focus, you allow yourself the freedom to find new paths and avenues that would have remained hidden had you been solely focused on the negatives. Broadened perspective also allows you to appreciate the value of the journey, not just the destination. Life is not a race to a particular goal. It is a series of moments, each one offering something valuable if we're willing to see it. When you expand your perspective, you stop seeing each difficulty as a hindrance to your success, and instead you begin to see each challenge as an integral part of the process that will eventually lead you to greater heights. By shifting your perspective, you unlock the power to find meaning in every experience, even those that initially seem painful or frustrating. It's important to remember that perspective is not something that is handed to you. It is something you actively create. It's a choice to look beyond the immediate challenges and see the larger picture, to look for the silver lining in even the darkest of situations. And the more you practice this habit, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you'll find that your perspective shifts automatically, and you begin to see the world in a more expansive and positive light. When you adopt this mindset, you open yourself to possibilities you once thought impossible. The barriers that seemed insurmountable become small hurdles that can be overcome with the right mindset and a bit of effort. Perspective isn't just about seeing the good in every situation. It's about seeing the truth of each situation and understanding its place in the greater context of your life. The more you expand your view, the less likely you are to be trapped in the narrow confines of your own worries and limitations. You begin to see beyond the immediate pain and discomfort and recognize that each challenge is a stepping stone toward greater growth. By cultivating a broader perspective, you give yourself the gift of clarity, the ability to see the opportunities in every situation, and the strength to continue moving forward. Self-improvement is a choice. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that growth happens by chance or that certain people are simply born with the qualities needed to succeed. But the truth is, personal development is not a passive experience. It's something that requires active, daily effort. Every decision you make, every action you take either moves you closer to your goals or further away from them. The idea that self-improvement happens through inspiration alone is a misconception. It's the result of consistent action, focused effort, and a commitment to becoming better every day. Self-improvement begins with small, deliberate steps. These might not seem significant in the moment, but over time they accumulate and create profound change. Whether it's setting a new goal, improving your habits, learning a new skill, or facing a fear you've been avoiding, every act of self-improvement builds upon the last. As you commit to growing, you start to see the world differently. You see setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to learn. You see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as challenges that will shape you into someone stronger and more capable. True self-improvement happens when you shift your mindset from being someone who is constantly waiting for change to someone who takes active steps to create change. It's not enough to just wish for a better life. You must be willing to take action toward it. Whether it's taking care of your physical health, cultivating positive relationships, or improving your emotional well-being, self-improvement is about taking ownership of your life and actively working toward becoming the best version of yourself. It is a journey that requires discipline, perseverance, and the understanding that real change takes time. But the payoff is worth it. The person you become through this process will be more resilient, more confident, and better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. The journey of personal growth is an ongoing process, not a destination. We often get caught up in the idea that growth is something we either have or don't have, but that is far from the truth. Growth is an active pursuit, a decision made in every moment. It's about the small choices you make every day, the daily actions you take, and the mindset you cultivate. It's not about waiting for the perfect time or the perfect set of circumstances. It's about recognizing that you have the power to change, improve, and move forward, no matter where you are right now. It's about committing to become better today than you were yesterday, even if that means taking baby steps. One of the biggest obstacles to growth is the belief that change has to happen immediately or dramatically. This misconception leads to frustration and discouragement when we don't see instant results. The truth is, personal growth takes time, patience, and persistence. The process of growth is often slow and steady, like planting a seed and watching it gradually sprout over time. You may not notice drastic changes in the short term, but over time, those small, consistent efforts add up. The most profound transformations happen when you stay committed to the process, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Each day you work toward becoming the best version of yourself, even in the smallest ways, is a victory. These victories accumulate, and eventually they lead to profound, lasting change. Self-doubt is another powerful force that can hold you back from growth. It often arises when you're faced with a challenge, when you venture into unknown territory, or when you're uncertain of the outcome. Self-doubt can be paralyzing. It tells you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you're not capable of achieving your goals. It whispers in your ear, trying to convince you to play it safe, to stay in your comfort zone, and to avoid the discomfort that comes with growth. But the truth is, self-doubt is not a reflection of your abilities. It's a product of your fear. Everyone experiences self-doubt at some point, even those who are highly successful. The key is not to let it dictate your actions. Instead of allowing self-doubt to stop you, use it as fuel to push yourself forward. Acknowledge the fear and discomfort, but don't let it paralyze you. Take action anyway. Each time you do, you weaken the grip of self-doubt and build your confidence. So forward. One of the most important elements of growth is the willingness to embrace discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you push yourself beyond it. It's easy to stick to what you know, to stay within the boundaries of your routine and avoid anything that feels unfamiliar or risky. But true growth requires stepping into the unknown, confronting uncertainty, and embracing discomfort. When you challenge yourself to take on new experiences, push beyond your limits, and do things that scare you, you stretch your capabilities. It's through this discomfort that you learn more about yourself, your strengths, and your weaknesses. You build resilience, develop new skills, and grow stronger. The more you embrace discomfort, the more you'll realize that it's not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed. It's a sign that you are growing, that you are stepping into a higher version of yourself. We live in a world that is constantly changing, and the ability to adapt is crucial for personal growth. Change is inevitable, and how you respond to it will determine your level of success and fulfillment. Some people resist change, clinging to the familiar and avoiding anything that disrupts their sense of security. Others embrace change and see it as an opportunity for growth. The ability to adapt is a skill that can be developed over time, and it starts with being open-minded and flexible. When faced with a new challenge or a change in circumstances, it's important to maintain a growth mindset, the belief that you can learn, adapt, and grow through any situation. Instead of seeing change as a threat, see it as a chance to expand your horizons, acquire new knowledge, and become more resilient. The more adaptable you are, the more equipped you'll be to handle life's uncertainties. The power of reflection is often underestimated. In a fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the rush of life and forget to pause and reflect on where you are and where you're going. Reflection is an essential tool for growth. It allows you to look back on your experiences, assess your progress, and learn from your mistakes. By taking time to reflect, you gain clarity and insight into your actions, decisions, and behaviors. You begin to see patterns and identify areas where you can improve. Reflection helps you understand what's working and what's not, and it gives you the opportunity to course correct before moving forward. It's not about beating yourself up for past mistakes, but rather learning from them and using that knowledge to make better choices in the future. In the process of reflection, it's important to be kind to yourself. Self-compassion is a critical component of personal growth. Many people are their own harshest critics, constantly focusing on their shortcomings and failures. This negative self-talk can prevent them from moving forward and achieving their goals. But self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. It's about acknowledging that you are human, that you will make mistakes, and that those mistakes do not define your worth. By practicing self-compassion, you can free yourself from the trap of perfectionism and judgment, allowing yourself to grow and learn without the fear of failure holding you back. Ultimately, the journey of personal growth is about taking ownership of your life and your future. It's about recognizing that you are responsible for your own happiness, success, and well-being. No one else can do the work for you, and no one else can create the life you want for you. It's up to you to make the choices, take the actions, and stay committed to your own growth. The path to success is not always easy, but it is always worth it. As you continue to grow, you will face challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But if you stay focused, embrace discomfort, and take consistent action, you will find that growth is not just possible, it's inevitable. The key is to keep moving forward no matter how difficult the journey may seem. Every step you take, no matter how small, is progress, and over time, it will lead you to the person you are meant to become. Of your destiny, but to live your daily in your shoulders, but it also empowers you to take control of your destiny. Many people spend their lives waiting for circumstances to change, for external forces to make things better. The truth is, change begins with you. The moment you take full responsibility for your life and acknowledge that you are the one who creates the conditions for your success, you begin to realize the vast potential that lies within you. You no longer wait for opportunities to present themselves, you create them. You no longer let fear, doubt, or uncertainty dictate your path. Instead, you choose to move forward regardless of the obstacles in your way. The first step toward taking responsibility for your life is recognizing that you have the power to shape your circumstances. Your thoughts, behaviors, and decisions shape your reality. You are not simply a passive observer in the story of your life. You are the main character, and you are the one who decides how the story unfolds. When you accept that power, it changes everything. You begin to make intentional decisions, and instead of reacting to life's challenges, you proactively engage with them. This shift in mindset is fundamental to personal growth. You start to see every challenge not as something to be avoided, but as an opportunity to grow. Every setback becomes a lesson, every failure a stepping stone to success. This mindset is what propels you forward. Taking responsibility also means letting go of excuses. It's easy to blame external factors for your lack of progress. You might blame your circumstances, your upbringing, or other people for the difficulties you face. But when you truly take responsibility for your life, you stop looking for things to blame and start looking for solutions. You realize that the only person you can control is yourself. It's not about ignoring the external challenges that exist, but about realizing that your response to those challenges is what matters most. Once you accept this truth, you will no longer feel powerless in the face of adversity. You will recognize that your mindset, your actions, and your commitment to growth are what will ultimately determine your success. In addition to taking responsibility, personal growth requires the cultivation of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to look inward and honestly assess who you are, what you want, and where you are in your life's journey. This can be a difficult process, as it often requires you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself, but it is an essential step in the path to growth. Without self-awareness, you cannot truly understand your strengths and weaknesses. You cannot identify the areas where you need to improve or the habits that are holding you back. Self-awareness allows you to take an objective look at your life and recognize what is working and what isn't. It gives you the clarity to make decisions that are aligned with your values and your long-term goals. As you become more self-aware, you also gain a deeper understanding of your motivations, your fears, and your desires. This awareness allows you to make better choices. It helps you stay grounded and focused on what truly matters, instead of being distracted by external pressures or superficial desires. When you know yourself well, you can navigate life's challenges with confidence and clarity. You can make decisions that align with your true purpose, and you can stay true to your values even when faced with temptation or opposition. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth because it helps you make decisions that are authentic and in line with who you truly are. Another key aspect of growth is the ability to embrace failure as a necessary part of the process. In a culture that often celebrates success and achievement, it can be difficult to accept failure. Failure is often seen as something to be avoided or feared. However, failure is an essential ingredient in the recipe for success. Without failure, there is no growth. Failure teaches you valuable lessons that you cannot learn from success. It helps you build resilience, humility, and the understanding that perfection is not the goal. Growth is about progress, not perfection. Every failure you experience is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. The most successful people are not those who have avoided failure, but those who have embraced it and used it as a stepping stone to greater achievements. Learning to embrace failure requires a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of your inadequacy, see it as a reflection of your willingness to try. Failure means that you are pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, and that is where growth happens. It means you are taking risks, learning new things, and evolving into a better version of yourself. Rather than letting failure defeat you, use it as motivation to continue. Every failure is a lesson that gets you one step closer to your goals. So instead of avoiding failure, welcome it as part of the growth process. The more you fail, the more you learn, and the more you develop the resilience needed to keep moving forward. Consistency is another critical element in the journey of personal growth. While motivation can get you started, it is consistency that will keep you going. There will be days when you feel energized and ready to take on the world, but there will also be days when you feel tired, uninspired, or discouraged. On those days, it's easy to give up or put things off. But success is built on the small, consistent actions that you take day in and day out. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about making progress, even if it's just a small step forward. Consistency is what turns goals into achievements. It's what transforms dreams into reality. Without consistency, even the best plans will fall short. Success is not about taking giant leaps, about taking steady, consistent steps that, over time, accumulate into significant progress. Another aspect of consistency is discipline. Discipline is the ability to stay focused and committed to your goals, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. It's about making sacrifices and doing the hard work that others might avoid. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when motivation fades and obstacles arise. It requires a high level of self-control and a commitment to doing what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable or challenging. Discipline is what turns potential into performance. It's what separates those who succeed from those who give up along the way. To cultivate discipline, it's important to develop good habits. Habits are the building blocks of discipline. When you consistently practice positive habits, they become second nature. They no longer require constant effort or willpower. They become part of who you are. Building good habits requires intentionality and time. It's about making small changes and sticking with them even when it's hard. Over time, these small habits accumulate and create the discipline needed to achieve your goals. So rather than focusing on motivation alone, focus on creating habits that support your success. The more disciplined you become, the more consistent your actions will be, and the closer you will get to the person you want to become. As we move forward in our journey of personal growth, it's essential to recognize that growth is not linear. It doesn't always happen in a straight, predictable line. There will be days when you feel like you've made tremendous progress, and there will be days when you feel like you're stuck or even regressing. This is a normal part of the process. Progress in life is rarely a smooth, uninterrupted trajectory. There will be ups and downs, highs and lows, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. The key is to keep going, even when things feel uncertain or difficult. Understand that the setbacks are not failures. They are simply a part of the learning process. They provide the contrast necessary for growth. Without the challenges and the struggles, you wouldn't be able to appreciate how far you've come. It's also important to recognize that personal growth requires patience. We live in a world that often glorifies quick results, instant success, and immediate gratification. In the age of social media, it's easy to compare ourselves to others who appear to be achieving success at a rapid pace. However, true growth takes time. The most profound transformations happen over time, and they are built on consistent effort, reflection, and adaptation. Just like a tree grows slowly and steadily, personal growth happens in a similar way. You may not see visible results right away, but as long as you remain committed and keep putting in the work, you will eventually see the fruits of your labor. Patience is a crucial virtue in the pursuit of growth, and understanding that progress often comes incrementally allows you to stay motivated during the slower periods. At the heart of personal growth is a commitment to lifelong learning. Growth is not a destination that you reach and then stop. It is a lifelong process that continues as long as you are open to learning, evolving, and challenging yourself. When you approach life with a mindset of continuous learning, you remain open to new ideas, new perspectives, and new experiences. This openness allows you to grow in ways you never imagined. No matter how much you think you know, there is always more to learn. The world is full of opportunities for learning, whether it's through books, conversations with others, or experiences that push you outside your comfort zone. To be truly committed to growth, you must embrace a mindset of curiosity. This curiosity will drive you to seek knowledge, learn from others, and stay adaptable in the face of new challenges. Equally important is the power of community. Growth is not a solitary endeavor. While personal development requires individual effort, it's essential to surround yourself with people who support your journey. The right community can be a powerful catalyst for growth. When you connect with others who share similar values, goals, and aspirations, you create an environment where growth can thrive. A community offers encouragement, accountability, and the exchange of ideas. It provides a space where you can learn from the experiences of others and gain different perspectives. The relationships you cultivate along the way play a vital role in your growth as they push you to become a better version of yourself. It's important to recognize that growth doesn't happen in isolation. We are social creatures and we thrive in environments where we can learn from and inspire each other. Another key aspect of growth is the ability to set clear, actionable goals. Growth doesn't happen by chance. It requires intention and direction. Having clear goals gives you a sense of purpose and focus. Goals help you break down the bigger picture into manageable steps, making it easier to track your progress and stay motivated. It's important to set both short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals provide immediate focus and motivation, while long-term goals help you keep sight of the bigger picture and stay aligned with your vision for your future. Setting goals gives you something concrete to work towards and helps you maintain momentum even when the going gets tough. However, it's also important to be flexible with your goals. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances can change. Being rigid with your goals can lead to frustration, so it's essential to remain adaptable. Don't be afraid to revise your goals when necessary. The journey is not always straight, and flexibility allows you to adapt to new information, opportunities, and challenges. Personal growth also demands a commitment to self-discipline. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's easy to take action when motivation is high, but true growth comes from consistently taking the necessary steps, even when you're not feeling inspired. Self-discipline involves setting boundaries, managing your time effectively, and prioritizing the actions that will move you closer to your goals. It's about resisting the urge to procrastinate and staying focused on what really matters. Self-discipline can be difficult at times, especially when faced with distractions, but it is a muscle that strengthens the more you use it. Building discipline takes time, but with each small victory, you build the strength needed to stay on track. It's also important to remember that self-discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Even if you slip up or fall short of your expectations, it's important to get back on track without judgment. Growth is not about being flawless, but about making consistent progress toward your goals. Another essential factor in growth is the ability to cultivate gratitude. It's easy to focus on what we lack or what we haven't achieved yet, but true growth comes when we shift our focus to what we already have. Gratitude helps us recognize the abundance that exists in our lives, even in the midst of challenges. When you practice gratitude, you develop a more positive mindset, which in turn boosts your resilience and motivation. Gratitude reminds you that no matter how difficult life may seem, there are always things to appreciate. And this mindset can help you keep moving forward. It's also important to express gratitude to others. When you acknowledge the contributions of others to your growth, you strengthen your relationships and create a sense of connection and support. Ultimately, personal growth requires you to take full ownership of your life. This means accepting both the successes and the failures, embracing the challenges and learning from every experience. You are responsible for your own growth, and while there will always be external factors that influence your path, the choices you make determine how you respond and what you become. The power to transform your life lies within you. It's up to you to make the decision to move forward, to keep learning, and to stay committed to becoming the person you are meant to be. Every step you take, no matter how small, is part of the process of becoming. Trust in that process and remember that growth is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. Embrace it with open arms and know that you have the strength to become the best version of yourself.